everyone, my name is Joy. Welcome back. I'm currently a rising junior at Wellesley College. Today we're going to be talking about all of the dorms. Now, I wanted to make this a ranking video, but let's just say people have very strong opinions about where they live. So I'm gonna keep it into more of a tier list of where I would want to live and my general thoughts on every dorm. I will say take everything I say with a grain of salt. So I've lived in 3 of the 15 dorms. There's also student co-ops, which I won't really talk about just because I haven't lived in one. I don't really know anything about it. I don't want to say anything that I don't understand. But for reference, I have lived in Cas, Stone Davis, and Bates. I lived in Cas for 2 full school years, and I lived in Bates one summer, and I'm living in Stone Davis right now. So if you're going to be living in Stone Davis, this is kind of what your room's going to look like. Let's start off with Westside because I like Westside more. Controversial opinion, I guess. A lot of people have different opinions on Westside and Eastside, but the biggest differences really relate to what you're majoring in and where you think you're going to be most of the time. Obviously, if you're a first year, there was some housing fiascos. According to someone who I was talking to in Res Life, the software didn't recognize people who matched themselves as roommates, but it recognized people who grouped themselves, but then they redid it, and that kind of caused a lot of things to go out of control. But it's pretty unlikely that things are going to change after they've fixed everything now. As a first year, don't worry too much. If you really have problems with your roommate, somewhere within a month or a couple weeks in, there will be chances to swap if there's really big problems, but honestly, it'll all work out. Let's talk about the distinctions between East Side and West Side. A lot of people who like to live on East Side are STEM majors, so most of their classes are inside and they don't have to walk around that much. A lot of people who like West Side are humanities majors, take most of their classes in the academic quad, that type of thing. The other difference is what dining halls are closest. East Side, it's just Bates and Stone D. Now Stone D is going to be the new Palm, which is highly upsetting to me, but opinions on that later. Bates is pretty good all around for food. I know people who used to live on West Side and go all the way to Bates just to eat breakfast every morning. Kind of extreme for me, but people have preferences. Stone D used to be more of the greasy late night food. They would stay open pretty late compared to Bates. Bates closes at 7 or 7:30, something like that. And then on East Side, it's Lulu, Tower, rest in peace Palm. I used to eat in Palm so much, which is just very unfortunate. If you don't know, Palm is shutting down because Wellesley Fresh is trying to save money. I don't know. Some weird Wellesley Fresh drama that I don't really know that much about, but it's just very upsetting because Palm used to have Palm shows and Sundays, and they had the good granola, and I would eat the sweet potatoes there every day for breakfast. Anyways, this is off topic. So the distinctions are where you're gonna be, what you're gonna be eating, and I think one of the nice things about living on West Side is that you're close to Lulu, so you can go pick up your packages whenever you want and you don't have to walk that far. Another thing is a lot of athletes tend to live on West Side because it's really close to the KFC, close to the fields, just very convenient. When I did novice crew, I literally rolled out of bed 10 minutes before and just ran, whereas my friend Kana would have to chug it all the way from Bates. Okay, my opinions on the Quint. I think Palm and Cas are superior to Schaefer and BB. Schaefer has a lot of love. I guess it has a lot of community. I'm never really that involved in HOCO and stuff, so I like Cas purely just because I like Cas. I think the basement is nice. I like the living room. The rooms across the Quint are all pretty similar, hardwood floor, kind of dark closet that's a deep hole in your wall. Bathrooms are pretty standard. A couple times I've been in BB, there's been some weak flushes in those bathrooms, but other than that, because Cas and Palm had some newer renovations, their basements are pretty similar. The basement of BB has a really nice kitchen, but I'm not as much of a fan of BB. And then Schaefer is just Schaefer. I don't want to get on anyone's bad side, but I would personally prefer to live in Cas and Palm over BB and Schaefer. Now, Munger, lots of controversy. There was a big water leak my first year, and some people's rooms were just completely damaged in the basement. If you were to compare the dorms in the Quint to grocery stores, I would say that Cas and Palm are Whole Foods And then Schaefer and Beebe are Roche Bros. And then Munger, the reputation of Munger is more of like a Dollar Tree. Like, it kind of has like a dirty reputation. Like, a lot of people hate on Munger, but joke's on everyone, I'm living there next year, and their roof was recently renovated, so hopefully no more water damage. I've heard some of the singles are pretty spacious, but as everything goes, West Side doubles are a little bit smaller than East Side doubles. East Side doubles are quite spacious, but for singles, I think they're pretty standard all across the Quint. So the other part of West Side is Tower Court. Tower Court includes Tower Court West, Tower Court East, Severance, and Claflin. Claflin has a bakery part that's part of it, where all of the baked goods from the dining halls come from. Okay, out of the Tower Court area, I prefer like Tower Court West and Tower Court East to Severance and Claflin. Claflin has carpeted floors, which I'm just not really into. The basement of Claf is okay. The common areas on the first floor are pretty nice. They do have nice views. Yeah, I guess I just don't like carpet. Also, it's like haunted, but like not really. But I've only been in there a couple times to like a friend's room. Tower Court West and Tower Court East, pretty standard. Sev is a little bit like, it feels kind of pushed to the side. Like, it's just kind of like on the side of everything. There's some like basement room. That's one thing about Wellesley dorms, like, or basically all buildings in Wellesley in general. There's like a ground floor, but then there's like a first floor. Like, the floor you enter in isn't always the first floor, just because of all the hills and stuff. I don't know much about Tower Court because I've never lived there. Do enjoy eating in Tower. There's a nice courtyard in the back. There's the Tower steps, obviously. I would just say, like, I feel like the vibe of people who live in Tower are like very cool, and I'm like very intimidated by them. It just seems like a place where I would not feel cool enough to live. I don't know, that's like the vibe Tower gives me. And then on the side of Tower is Lake House. I haven't been inside of a room in Lake House, but Lake House has a great kitchen on the first floor, and they also have great lake views. For East Side, there's McAfee, Bates, Freeman. That's like one cluster, and Stonedy is like between that cluster and the chapel. McAfee, Bates, Freeman rooms are all pretty similar. Their doubles are really spacious. Their wood floors are like the fake kind that are like really smooth and stuff. Like the ones on East Side are so old that like whenever I was cleaning my floor in class, I felt like I was just shoving more dirt into the crevices of the wood floor. East Side has really nice closets. They also have these like big bulletin board things in their room to like decorate stuff. I lived in a single in Bates last summer. It was on the third floor, and I had like a super long window, which was super nice, except for the fact that it was the summer and there was no air conditioning, and I was literally being cooked alive in my room. But I think for like a normal year, like a single on East Side is really nice. I will say, I feel like East Side is a little more, it feels like the people on East Side are a little more academic. Like, I feel like there's more loudness and like parties and just like general fun times on West Side, and then it seems like the people who live on East Side are like a little more uptight. But these are just very large generalizations. Like, keep in mind, these are all very large generalizations. I don't want to like piss off anybody because I really like the rooms in East Side. I think it's worth living in East Side if you're living here for the summer. Like, I wouldn't live on West Side in the summer. And then Stonedy, okay, I don't really like Stonedy. One of the reasons is because obviously I'm living here for the summer. It's hot. There's a lot of bugs in Stonedy. I mean, this is the case for like any dorm over the summer. There was a couple bugs in Bates, but I just think Stonedy is like, I'm not a fan of the bugs, and I don't really like the setup. Like, the building itself is so long, and then each side of the building that you live on, there's a separate staircase that goes like 5 steps down on the sides, which is where I'm living. So when I have to move in my stuff, I put everything in a bin through the elevator, right? But then I have to take everything out of the bin separately and walk it down the stairs, which like, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're carrying like all of your shit and then like a refrigerator down the stairs over and over again, it's really repetitive, and it's just nicer. If everything was just the same height, it would have been so much easier. I would say my single in Stonedy is pretty similar to the size of my single that I had in CAS last semester. The shelves in Stonedy are bigger than the ones that I've had in CAS. On the side of the little east side cluster is Dower. My exchange student friend lived in Dower my first year. She liked it. It's like one of the farther dorms, not including like the student living communities. And like I lived in Cavs, so when I wanted to hang out with her, it took a lot of motivation to walk all the way over there. It's kind of like a tiny house basically, and then some of the rooms have like shared working spaces. So it would be like 2 rooms were connected, and then 4 desks would have like their own little office space, and then the beds were separated. It's like 2 beds in one room, 2 beds in the other, which like I haven't really seen anywhere else on campus. Like there are some connected doubles in like Claf, I think, and there are some like apartments and stuff and suites, but I haven't really gone in any of those. And then the living communities, there's like Scoop, there's French House, there's Casa Cervantes, and then there's also Wallenisi that was in Cas. I don't know if it's moving. Some other features are like there's floors of living communities, so like East Asian languages. I think there's like a Korean one and then a Japanese one. There's also like a substance-free floor. It's usually in Stone Davis, I think. I do think they change every year. My advice for any first year is just like, honestly, where you live your first year doesn't really matter that much. Housing is always a shit show. It's just hard. Some tips that I have are, if you don't have a full body mirror in your room, you don't have to buy one. You can submit a maintenance request and say like, I don't have a full body mirror, and they'll come and install one for you for free. I've done that this past year, and it's like a pretty nice mirror and it just stays in the room anyways. If this was like any other time, I would probably recommend a fan, but this past year they bought fans for everyone, so like mine is right there, so they just stay in the room, and those are really helpful. The dorms don't have AC, but certain like areas like Lulu is always air conditioned. Stone D is really nice because the living rooms are air conditioned. There are some really good resources like the class groups where people ask in past Facebook threads like, does anyone have a photo of this room or this room, and you can search through them if you want to see a picture of the room you're going to be moving into. Another resource is somebody compiled like a Google Drive of all these folders of photos of different rooms. They're all pretty standard, I would say. Like, you get a shelf, you get a dresser, you get a desk, a chair. Pretty standard, but there's like some minor differences. Like right now I have a rocking chair, which I literally hate. These chairs are so stupid. The chairs on West Side like are terrible to lean on. Basically all the chairs here suck. Yeah, you can go there, look for photos of your room, photos of other rooms on your floor if you can't find the exact one. If you have any specific questions about certain dorms, I can try to answer them, but I really only know a lot about CAS, I would say. Also, once you get to campus, you'll have your RA, your HP, all people you can talk to. So yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. If there's anything else you want to know about, I can make some more videos. I'm trying to use that Wellesley clout for the next 2 years. So yeah, let me know. Bye.